At First Choice Bank, we know you can't always make it before the bank closes. With our integrated teller, you can talk to a live person as late as 7 p.m. on weekdays and noon on Saturdays. It's not just an ATM, it's an ITM. First Choice Bank, your choice for banking.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Well, looks like things are working. Hopefully things are still working for you. I know it's a night where power keeps going out, where even my kids heard tree branches fall outside the house this evening. Luckily, they were in a safe place. Hopefully you are as well. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Laupon, and thank you so much for supporting us here on Mississippi Live Weather. As you can see, ice storm warnings remain in effect for most locations. Don't think you need a meteorology degree to know that. We have slippery conditions, and unfortunately, things will get worse. I can see Riley behind the scenes here saying power out in Saltillo. It's out a lot of places, unfortunately, Riley, and more places are going to be added to that list. So, again, we appreciate you trusting us to guide you through this ice storm, power out in Booneville. That's going to be, I think, the comment a lot of folks are going to be saying, unfortunately, going forward. Let's talk through our headlines here, and that is our biggest one. Power outages are mounting. I mean, out of the corner of my eye, I see Baldwin. I see downtown Pontotoc. I see Algoma. This is just out of the corner of my eye. We're going to be talking to Gabe about that. Unfortunately, the heaviest ice is still to come. Does loom beyond this. That's part of the reason why we are likely going to continue to have some issues related to this, and in some cases, because the power outages, issues related to staying warm for a little while in the future. Unfortunately, it's going to be rough. And we do have team coverage this evening. I am here. One of these days, I will click on the right thing behind the scenes to make this work. Okay, I'm here. Gabe, he is going to be talking about those power outages up there in Tishomingo County. Our meteorologist, Caleb Edelblut, is going to be in Oktibbeha County talking about what all is going down there as well. But I'm going to bring it back here for a moment, and I'm going to kind of go through a few other things before we dive into those main headlines there. But we are continuing again over the next 12 to add more ice. This is not over. So temperatures flirting with the freezing point now. In some cases drop overnight, in some cases go up. We have a developing low pressure center basically right overhead. And so that means that it's possible the winds could pick up a little bit more. And if I could tell you any more bad news than that before, because, I mean, 8 to 10 miles per hour, that's not much. If you get much over 10 miles per hour, and that's going to then take trees loaded with ice that are just kind of sitting there and waiting, that's when they start breaking off things. So not a good sign, not a good situation, probably the most significant icing situation since I've been in Mississippi. And Mama Justice Doppel radar, again, continuing to show, again, widespread frozen precipitation out there at this time. We'll make this a 3-hour loop. We had kind of that first heavy wave that moved on out, and now again kind of the next one kind of moving in from the south and west, showing that Grenada, Water Valley, again moving there in the direction of locations up there closer to Bruce, and then more behind that, unfortunately, farther back to the south and west. And if I just to, for the opposite of giggles, show you, unfortunately, there's more behind that. So this is, we're more than halfway through this event, but just a reminder of just how significant it is. This will go on, I think, for a bit longer. There are thunderstorms down in the southern part of Mississippi. Again, one of those other contingencies, that potential for thunder, sleet, and freezing rain and everything else is also there. The power outages are mounting. We mentioned that a minute ago, extending back there into Louisiana. But when you look here in Mississippi, and this looks at the percentage of power outages by county, you know, we do have some folks where I believe that they're close to the Rolling Fork area, about 56% of folks there out of power. You know, in Providence, 44% of people in that county out there close to, both Holmes and, Carroll counties. I apologize. My brain's almost shot. I'm sure yours is as well. But look at the number of outages here. And in some cases, less significant, in some cases more, especially around the Golden Triangle. We've really kind of seen some there on the Oktibbeha County side of that, back toward Ackerman, and also up toward Decorah, and then farther north up here when we go to the northern part of the state. About 2,500 out there in the Prentice County area now, up to 2,000 in Ayucla. They had that down to about 1,500. And we're going to look in more detail at the specifics there as well. So I'm going to start off with our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor, who is joining us live from up there in the north part of Lee County. Thank God you still have power for now, but obviously the situation mounting for a lot of folks, and it's going to get worse, a lot worse, before it gets better.
Yeah, Matt, the numbers continue to climb as we get into our Saturday night and into those overnight hours, honestly, at this point. It's funny that folks are mentioning power outage in Saltillo. It's very sporadic outages, so kind of popping up here and there, all dependent on how long those trees can sustain that ice, how long those power lines can sustain that ice. And so far, fortunate that has maintained here in the Maynard household, but we're going to cross our fingers and hope that we can stay lucky heading into our Sunday as well. But yeah, neighbors reporting some outages, and so if we drop from on air, just know the power has gone out. So just a little precursor there. We're going to start with Tishomingo County, and this is Tishomingo County EPA letting us know those outages that have been in the area. And one of the more numerous outages that we have is the 257 reported right here. In that larger number, we get lined up right there. There you go. Right there on the northeast side of the county, just over the Burnsville area. Now, look at the amount of time that they have been without power. You see it at the top of your screen right there. We're talking 3 hours and 17 minutes. That's a good chunk of time. And folks, I don't know when people are going to be able to get out there, when crews are going to be able to get out there to fix it. And these are spread all across the county. Let me zoom in here real quick to get a better visual. We're seeing that in Burnsville. We're seeing that towards Iuka. We scroll south there towards Tishomingo and Belmont, getting some outages there as well. So in Dennis, basically, you name a town, they're dealing with some outages across the area. Tishomingo County, one of the more prominent areas, but another one that we're noting, Prentice County, Boonville. Of course, my wife, she's a Blue Devil up there in Boonville at Boonville Middle School, and she was letting me know that folks up there are reporting to her that their power is going out left and right. So that's now spread into the downtown Boonville area. So folks that do live in Prentice County, whether that's in the county limits or within the city of Boonville, getting those outages. And you see that number correct? That is just under 2,400 outages. And that's just in that one area. If we go south, we have 97 there. We get out of the way of the screen, but we have 97 there just south of Boonville. That's going to be south of Highway 30 as well. And then 119 towards the Baldwin area. So impacts. The two that we mentioned, travel impacts that we touched on just a moment ago, but power outages were also a thing that we were expecting and coming to fruition tonight. Unfortunately, we were hoping that wouldn't be the case, but power outages are in place and those are expected to continue for a good chunk of time. Matt, I'm going to work behind the scenes to pull up a picture, but for County Electric, we'll look at some of their outages. But they also have a report of some hazardous conditions that they're going through down there in their viewing area. So we're going to look at some of their posts as well as how their outages stand. But just know they're seeing a few setbacks whenever we're talking about addressing this ice threat for their trucks on top of getting those power lines restored.
That's our meteorologist, Gabe Maynard there. Again, he's on Power Outage Watch. We'll look at some more of those power outages in a minute. We'll also look at some Mississippi Department of Transportation cameras if you kind of check some of those out here in a couple minutes. I appreciate that, Gabe. We're also, again, lining things up with our meteorologist, Caleb Edelblut. He is down. Well, we might have lost his connection here for a moment. I'll have to make sure he gets off the Wi-Fi on that. There you are. Hey, Caleb, you're back. Again, you had some trees. He's in and out on this. We'll see if he comes back with us here in a second. Caleb, you're in and out. Are you good?
I think I'm back.
Okay, I think you're back as well. I don't know if you're on the edge of your Wi-Fi there, if that's what's going on. But hey, so what do you got down there in Oxtable County?
Well, notice that this time this go around for this live camera, I don't have my hood on, so not too rainy out. That's sprinkling. One of the things that I really want to point out, I'm having to show you two situations that have happened out here in my backyard. It's still the same tree, which is not any more occurrences are happening. But
hey, Caleb, we're going to go ahead and wrap this here in a second. Caleb, if I can get your attention.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and double check, see if we can get, well, maybe up a little bit. Are we off of Wi-Fi?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, maybe we're going to do it. Okay. Go ahead and we'll give it a try. Looks like cleared up.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to show this tree, just showing that we haven't really received that much ice or that freezing rain that a bunch of our neighbors up in northwest Mississippi have received so far, but it's still having an effect like this on us, and it's not over. I know a lot of us in Starkville or the Golden Triangle region are guilty of thinking, hey, we're not really in the thick of it. We're not really expecting much. This has been a bust so far. Well, it hasn't really reached us yet. The models keep showing some more freezing rain overnight, but going into tomorrow. So just showing that the little we received earlier really going as prominent. We're going to see more kind of occur tomorrow morning and into tomorrow. So definitely something to keep in mind as we get ready for the hours and how that little already has an effect on us today. So this threat is not over, especially us down here in the eastern portion of our and we still need to as we continue heading into these hours. But wanted to update here. Thankfully, not really seeing many more limbs or anything fall here. Heard one snap as I walked out here, but not really that big of a deal as of right now.
Okay, it's our meteorologist, Caleb Edelblut. You've had a very long day. Go in, get some rest. Thank you so much. A lot of the posts you've seen from us on Facebook today have been Caleb doing the hard work there as well. You're shot in and out, and I do, again, wonder if you're off of Wi-Fi, if that's, with some of the power outages, if people are kind of starting to overload what's going on with the system there, and I do think that unfortunately could be. And we're looking here just to the west of Caleb's location, kind of close to Adenton. Camera there, you can see kind of in the light, coating of ice, fairly decent size one. And if you look at what the initial width of that bar was on this tower there, we've almost doubled it potentially on some spots there. That's where we again start having some issues. And the ice has most certainly started to add up in some locations. I'm going to bring up our chat here. We've got a very robust chat of people talking about a number of different things. We do appreciate all of you that have shared your photographs with us, in some cases of things that are not very good. And that would be Brooke's situation here. Brooke sharing this shot from Guntown. This is a tree, and this is what happens to trees when you add ice to them. They get rough. I mean, you can see this, I don't know what it looked like before, but that looks like that's hanging awfully open there and pulling down on that. So I, that's the weight of these icy trees. There's a beauty to it, and there's definitely not all at the same time. You guys have just sent in so many different pictures, some happy, some less than, but all with, quite a bit of ice out there. I mean, and it just, it's really all over the place. And that's why I gotta give you guys and gals credit on this. Because if I kind of widen this out, it does consolidate the numbers as we widen out, but we're talking probably about 1,000, if not more than 1,000 pictures you guys have sent us from different sections of the region. And just thank you so much for doing that. We will go through a few more of those here in a minute. But I don't want to, absorb all of this first part of the broadcast with that. So we come back here again to Mississippi Live Mama Justice Doppler radar, and we are looking in at this instant here in and around Starkville, where we go. He's in one of those dry slots, but there's more moisture kind of coming in from the west. And the challenge really to figure out is this liquid, is this going to freeze into a solid once it makes contact with the ground? You can see here the last couple scans, all of a sudden, again, the modeling that kind of feeds the way this works behind the scenes jumps way north on the temperature. I'm just not sure that is valid. And we're going to have to check out a couple of sky cams. Everything else we do kind of starts with where is that freezing line, and is the air charging, the warmer air trying to charge northward. Very little visibility in Winona at this time. Ice, of course, over top of the lens. You can see some refraction of the light from other blinking lights. That's blinking back and forth awfully fast, unless it's just capturing one power blinking in one spot and one another, and just kind of both refracting there. Either way, we've just had a fairly heavy band of something, which is probably additional ice, because that has been the flavor of the day. That has moved through the Winona area again. Our thoughts and prayers with folks there in Winona, Kosciuszko, where we largely, for a good chunk of today, avoided the icing. Still good visibility. We have some glossiness on the ground there. The Kosciuszko, while also close to 32, must be 32 and a half. 32 and below, it's freezing. You get just above that, and potentially you're in a little bit better shape. Again, some showers there around Kosciuszko, largely coating in green. Ackerman, as we're looking again, we're really poking and prodding this, looking for where that freezing line is. And that, interestingly enough, Again, we're probably in one of the showers there in Ackerman. Give me a moment to go back to radar, and we're going to actually come back to this here in just a second. That shower of whatever that is in Ackerman, so that's what's I think is kind of messing with our view. It almost looks foggy, and that's not impossible because we have some warmer air trying to enhance things. It'd be a frozen fog if it was that. Either way, roads should not be traveled. You should be staying in, and certainly the trees and the icing we have on power lines. I mean, I see folks saying power out in AIM and power out in a lot of different places with this. And unfortunately, that is going to be the mantra of the evening. Who has power, who doesn't. We'll look up toward West Point as we're kind of looking at this. And again, we appreciate you guys for your support and for supporting those people that support us here on Mississippi Live Weather outside in West Point. Again, some of those showers. I don't have any icing on the lens there. You've been in better shape than in locations even just to your north. And the up there in Mississippi, Aberdeen, in the foreground, you can see the icicles on the lens there. You're also right on that freezing line. In fact, all these Monroe County reporting stations are pretty much right on that freezing line, sitting at basically 32 degrees with, again, another round of showers that at least on, that's probably fog. I've seen it in enough shots here that we have like a fog. It's interesting. I could make an argument here that it's possible that the fog's a good thing. It's a sign of trying to force more moisture and more warm air in here. And, I mean, if it's a frozen fog, obviously it's not a good thing. But if we're 33, it's a sign the warmer air is finally trying to win in some spots there. Obviously, we're watching, and again, some power outages kind of building up there in Amory, as we were talking about a moment ago. And then up in Smithville, no ice on that lens there. But we have the drips, we have the showers, and of course, a lot of power still on there in the Smithville area. Coming up to Tupelo and checking things out there as we kind of cross back over into Lee County. We're going to wait for this camera. It should start updating here in a second. A lot of power still on and showers moving through. I'm actually going to take the time to pan this camera, if you give me a moment. So I want to see if there's some ice on there that perhaps we are missing. So I'm going to kind of pan this camera a little bit. I'm going to swing it over toward the tower. And as we do that, to kind of go over to the right. Nope, we're not going to the right because that camera is frozen in place, isn't it? Nope, we unfroze it. Let's see if we go back to the right. Oh, it's jumpy, but we're moving. Again, kind of looking at the tower there, I don't see a ton of ice on the tower. It is not happy. The movement on that. Just like other things out there, everything else out there, this is just about frozen in place. I hope I don't freeze it, pointing right at the tower. All the storm chasers with North Mississippi storm chasers get on to me for that one there. But as we kind of swing this around, now I'm looking more toward the northeast. Again, foggy, but I see still a lot of lights on. So in and around Lee County, we do have some power outages. Most of them have been isolated, and that's the way it typically works in this situation where, and that's what takes so long to get the power back on. If it's just one big line, they can usually fix that pretty quickly. But if you have a bunch of little power outages, and Gabe will be showing this coming up here in just a little bit when he shows that Tom Bigby Electric Power Association map, it's just very sporadic. It's spotty. It's all over the place where there are those issues. So again, back here to Mississippi Live Weather Radar, now we've kind of had an assessment of where we're doing what. And my opinion is that we do, I think, have some warm air kind of charging northward on the east side of this a little bit, and at least aloft, trying to eat into it. We talked about a snow eater quite a bit over the course of this week. Obviously, we have not had much in the way of snow. We didn't expect much in the way of snow. But let me think if I get this to kind of pan for me there. Again, back to the south and west, additional, sleet and freezing conditions. And for folks back here in the Delta, it just has been kind of a rough go of it. We go to Greenville for a moment, and I'll go down to Rolling Fork and see if that camera is even working. But I mean, it is a coating all over the ground. But you will note there's not icicles in front of the lens there, and we don't have as much ice draped off of some of the lines. They have been cold enough. You're 23 there in Greenville, that you're cold enough that a lot of what we had has refrozen. And because it's refrozen after it melts and refreezes back into sleet, it's less likely to put stress on the lines as the freezing rain. So unfortunately, again, we do still have the ice there. but we have, that camera's even moving just a little bit, by the way, a sign of the wind, something we don't want, because you take frozen lines plus some wind there, and then we have some bigger issues. So again, I'm walking through these cameras, and there's a purpose for that, trying to see who's in the worst shape, because if you've watched us at all, you know that that is the way we assess it. Obviously, frozen over there, we've had enough ice at some point there, with the visibility down in Shelby, we've kind of been locked into that for quite a while. And then up in the Clarksdale area, looking at the trees, those trees, I don't see a lot of limbs on the ground at this point, so maybe in better shape than some other folks out there. Now, of course, there have been quite a few reports as we kind of work here around the globe, as it seems like, but checking to see who's worst. Batesville, we've had some reports of, obviously some significant icing in and around Panola County there. And speaking to the next camera here, 25 there in Batesville. So the cold air, this is a battle occurring right overhead, trying to move this line. Very low visibility in Oxford. I pull up Oxford. We do have a number of reports from there from official sources. I'm going to go back and give some of these. We spoke this morning with Bo Moore, with emergency manager there in Lafayette County. Small trees reported across roadway on County Road 217 and 238 at 9:46 this evening at 9:50. Large tree limbs in the roadway on County Road 415. And let's be honest, that's probably the case for many other folks there as well. Because a lot of folks just kind of asking, about trees, asking about power outages. Unfortunately, we expect that more tree limbs are going to come down, more power outages are going to occur. Pontotoc County, again, a lot of power outages there. A lot of this camera looking fairly dark. By, grace alone, we still have some visibility. But you notice how you kind of see that glow? I think that is that fog out there. And we're hoping to get at 32 degrees that maybe it is just slightly above freezing as opposed to just slightly below that threshold. The last camera is, again, we've kind of worked our way through almost the entire network that we have with the North Mississippi Storm Chasers. Still up there in Alcorn County. Not quite as much freezing rain up there, but the trees, still hard to tell. But you can tell they're definitely coated in ice this evening. So, as we look again through our kind of wide shot here from up in Tennessee all the way back, how far is this snow and ice and everything else range? We're basically not quite from coast to coast, but just about. You look closely over there in the Yucatan Peninsula. That's moisture from the steam source system that already has it out there in the Atlantic. So we continue to anticipate on the wide shot here that significant icing will continue through the overnight time period. We do expect power outages will occur. And as you power outages, I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but I certainly give you permission to not watch us, because you need to keep your phone powered and charged and ready to go. We have battery backups here at the Law Pond household, and that's one of the things that I'll be relying on. We have an electric truck that has battery backup. I'll be relying on that. So my phone can get away with being on 64%, but yours can't. We need to make sure it's plugged in and practice what I preach. The only reason it's 64% is I've been plugging it all day long. So I'm going to plug it in, and hopefully you've done the same, because power outages are likely to continue. But looking back toward the west, a lot more to go on this storm system before it kicks all the way out. And one of those factors with this big curled up low pressure center we have here, that warm air charging northward, what we call that snow meter, trying to force the freezing line north. And we will look in detailed fashion about that in a minute. But I want to draw your attention to all of these kind of blobs down here, the reds and that is the combination of rain and storm activity down there. And that is that convective, that potential for the thunder sleet, thunder snow, thunder not good. And notice how down toward Jackson, these get pretty hefty there. Back toward Winsboro, back on the other side of the state line, and then all the way up Greenwood, possibly Grenada, Kosciuszko. It is thunder something. Let's pray it's thunderstorms and not thunder sleet or thunder freezing rain. Now, what we need to note about this here, it's not inconceivable to have a damaging wind gust with this as it moves in. But notice how there's a line of thunderstorms that develops ahead of that front, and severe weather, and believe it or not, a tornado or two are possible with this system as it pushes away. This thing's developing, wrapping up right overhead, and it's going to try to wrap around some cooler air that's going to stick around for a while. You can see 1:30 tomorrow, Hopefully, God willing, most of the precipitation has started to exit the area, and we do anticipate that as we go into the latter part of the day, and as that moves on out, that things should straighten up a bit. So over the next 24 hours, it will be cold within a few degrees of the freezing point. It is the lottery, and I pray that you win and you end up just warm enough. Or so stinking cold it's not freezing rain. We just don't want in the middle. So 32 at 6 a.m. We're 31 degrees by 9. 32 at noon. Again, we are flirting with the freezing point through that entire time frame there. And then after this kind of low lifts out, takes the thunderstorms with it, we drop. 23 6 p.m., 20 at 9 p.m. Winds pick up. This is not good because there are so many ways that we could have problems. The ice and all the accumulations bring stuff down now. Additional ice overnight that then brings stuff down overnight. And if we get lucky enough that everything stays in place by then, as those winds could pick up on the backside of this, then we start knocking things down as well. And oh yeah, dangerous cold is ahead. Listen, I know I'm the bearer of all different sorts of bad news tonight, but we're going to talk through the latest on ice accumulations. We're going to look at roadways out there. We're going to talk more about power outages. We're going to look at your pictures. And I guess ultimately we're going to get through this as Mississippi Live Weather continues here from the Room Drew Weather Center, coming up in 60 seconds.
As we move into storm season, here's something most homeowners don't realize after a storm. Roof damage isn't always obvious. Wind can lift shingles, breaking the seal. Hail can bruise them below, and flashing around chimneys and pipes can loosen without you ever knowing. That damage may not show up for months. If your area has strong wind or hail, a professional inspection clarity before small damage turns into bigger problems.
As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you. Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lovhaug.
Significant winter weather impacts remain likely as we progress throughout the overnight hours and into your Sunday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lovhaug. You're watching Mississippi Live Weather Ice Storm 2026. Now, I don't know how it's going to compare to 94. I don't know if I've ever said 1994 on the air in my time here in Mississippi, because I just know what it conjures up for folks. But, it's hard not to have comparisons. This is one of the, we talked, I think, to Randy Skinner there in Calhoun County. And again, that was the benchmark. He didn't say we'd hit the benchmark again, but he said this was one of the more significant he had seen since. And we're not over yet. So extreme icing, again, continues to be possible in this peak area here. One of the most likely places in the entire country to have major issues. For some of us, we are past the peak. For others of us, that peak is unfortunately still ahead. So we're continuing to kind of assess how everything's playing out. Our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor, has been watching, again, traffic cameras. Just a reminder, as Gabe, as we've said all day, no one should be out there on the roads. I don't really see many people out on the roads. They're definitely not getting any better overnight.
No, and if you've been trying to drive during the day, well, if we can tell you anything, please don't be on the roads at night. Things are cooling off. They're actually as warm as they're going to get on Sunday for the start of the day, gradually diminishing as the day goes on, and those cold temperatures are going to freeze everything that's on the surface right now. And if you're like my house, there's a whole bunch of water to freeze. So taking a look outside right now, this is in West Point, which is part of the 4-county crew. And we'll look at that in just a moment because that's key to the next story that I'm about to tell. But if you look at the roadways out there, West Point's just seeing that saturated roadway right along Highway 45. Hopefully it remains water. As of right now, temperature's allowing it to do so. But if we get into those Sunday hours and there's still this amount of water on the roads, it's going to be an icy impact moving forward. Now, I mentioned 4-county. 4-county actually posting this on their Facebook page earlier on today. This is a look at one of their trucks. I don't know the exact location that it happened, but their post basically saying, if I can pull it up right here, let it load in. We know it is frustrating for members who may be without power tonight, but these pictures show the main reason why we will not be working all night. Trees are starting to break from the weight of the ice, and at least one of our trucks has been hit by a falling tree. Thank you for your patience and consideration for our safety. That is 100% correct, and everyone does need to be staying safe tonight, and that includes first responders and power crews. Now, we can't control power outages. That just happens based off of the weather, but we can control driving, and that's going to prevent first responders to have to respond out in the community, get out on those roads. So we want to make sure that we're doing our part to keep people safe, but Matt, it seems like my green screen might have fallen off, but I do want to note that, this is pretty insane when we're talking about the 4-county crew having to deal with thousands of outages so far.
Gabe. Well, hey, Gabe, if it's all good, appreciate all your hard work. He's gone. Well, so I can tell you we just had a power outage in South Tillow because Gabe's now gone. So as you can see, you're not alone in this whole process here. Our meteorologist Gabe Maynard reporting. Thank you so much, Gabe, even though I can guarantee you didn't get to hear me. Give me a second. I'm going back to that Gabe shot for a moment. And I want to just, there's something I want to point out about that. Just for a second, look at the size of that tree. Think of the incredible blessing that it caused all that damage to that truck. Because had that truck not been there, someone would have died. That is scary. And I know that losing power is inconvenient. But, man, what a blessing that people didn't die. Trees popping out and power out in Shannon. I know that there's going to be so many of those reports coming in tonight. And again, we've expected that here in the Room Weather Center. This is what unfortunately happens in an ice storm. Listen, we almost lost power here in Law Pound House a little bit ago. We have backup power. That's the only reason I went ahead and decided to go here as opposed to just sleeping down at the station downtown for days. We had better backup power here, believe it or not. So ice continuing to move in. And so I put this in the chat. I want to be crystal clear about this. That if your power goes out, please stop watching it. Because you've got to conserve that power in your phone in case there's some kind of emergency and you have to call 911 or so that you can check in. So I will tell you right now, and again, we're not done with the broadcast here. This is one of the last graphics we show during any broadcast, but we're not done with the broadcast. I just want to let you know again when we typically have our live shows. 5, 6, 10 p.m. and 6:37, 7:30 a.m. So that you can think ahead. If you are going to tune in, 6:30 tomorrow morning, we're going to be on, whether it's just me, whether it is me and Maggie, whether Gabe somehow figures something else out, whether Caleb's involved in this. I'll be here. One of us will be here. A combination of us will be here 6:30 tomorrow morning for Mississippi Live Weather today. And it hopefully will be me and multiple members of the team. But no guarantees that's the case, unfortunately, because clearly power outages are continuing. So another band of heavier sleet coming in and snow. So let's kind of continue on with the broadcast. So there's more here. Hour by hour, when does it let up? And I went back to the beginning here again. Let me pop it back. When does it let up, right? I'll try to stay out of the way of the graphic here. Not soon. We're going to be looking all night long. 90% coverage of this ice and maybe some rainfall at 7 a.m. through noon, and then out of here in the afternoon. But as soon as it moves out, temperatures drop, wind speeds remain gusty, and we're going to have some issues there. Someone mentioned that the broadcast is a little on the TV is skipping like a CD. Would you check that over there, Penny, to see if the Roku is doing that? Lost power now going about 8:30. You're not alone there, unfortunately. Okay, so join the conversation here in our chat. Let's walk through this together. The alerts speak for themselves. We've shown it a million times. Ice storm warnings in effect. Power outages will continue to spread, become more numerous, and ice accumulations will continue to increase. I do want to address what Kim says next to me there. Says, do we need to worry about large, healthy trees that aren't pine trees? Yes. I would say yes. Because, it's all about the number of the amount of surface area. And all the little branches and everything, a substantial amount of surface area. So is Roku okay or not? It's not okay, great. Okay, well, check and see if the app's okay. Watch it that way. Looks like we're good. It's also skipping on YouTube there. Is Facebook okay on the stream? Facebook is skipping horribly as well. See, I show it okay on my end. Give me a moment. I'm going to test this. That's actually pretty close. Hey, listen, you know what? With all of the issues we have right now, going, we're going to have to try to see if we can get Facebook froze, can hear. It is what it is. Facebook good, in and out working though. I do think part of this could be local internet, maybe not just on our end, but the fact we're even broadcasting now while people are losing power left and right is kind of incredible when you really think about it. So let's get through this. As I'm not going to go super fast, but I want to make sure that link on your side though. Okay. Okay. If you want, let's get through this, and we're going to reset here real quick. Let's get through this block. We'll reset, and we'll come back on. So give me a second. Landon, I know you're watching behind the scenes here. We've been dealing with streaming issues all night. We'll do this, and we'll be done real quick. So as you can see there, expecting significant icing, significant travel impacts, all the things, and it continues all night long. I'll go slower through this, but I just want to make sure for folks who are out there, we at least get you as much as you can. And it's actually not an overload because luckily it's not pinging my home network here. We send it to a server and it pings that network. So that's thankfully not the issue with this. But unfortunately, we show showers. We do show icing. We do show the potential to possibly see some likelihood that we're going to end up seeing that, what is it, thunder, sleet, thunder something out of this overnight. And that will mean localized significant enhancements to the amount of ice. The cold air, again, fighting here. Storms that are strong east. Cold air really moving in. And as we head here again through late morning and into the early afternoon, it starts moving out. But you can see it's not until 12:30 that we're mostly done. And this has been pretty consistent timing, maybe a flake on the backside. But that is still from this moment here till 12:30 tomorrow, more than 12 hours away. We've got 14 hours of this to go in some spots. Yeah, no, there's going to be no school in some spots out there. So let's look here at this. Caleb, I know you're behind the scenes. You're the one person who's still with me, and you were talking about your thoughts on this. I'm going to bring Caleb back in here for a moment. Caleb, come on. Oh, because I was clicking on something here behind the scenes, and we're going to get this cleaned up. Well, Caleb, it's just us. Looking. Go ahead.
Well, I think Gabe's back. I think I see him in the background. I think he made it back. Mm-hmm. He looks
Mr.
very victorious
Gabe
right
Maynard,
now.
back from the dead line.
I'm alive. I did it.
How did you do what?
I don't know. I just turned back
Were
on.
you going to get somebody killed by saying it? What?
Do what?
What did you do? How are you back?
To be honest, I don't know. The power just came back on, and I had to troubleshoot the
You
Wi-Fi.
didn't do it.
But
Tom Bigby did it.
love Tom Bigby, my people.
Okay, well, Gabe Maynard back. We'll touch on those power outages in a minute. Looks like apparently, okay, so for folks on Facebook, apparently this is a little glitchy. On the app, apparently it is good. Either way, we're going to get through this.
I'm watching.
Go ahead, Caleb.
I'm watching on both Facebook and YouTube, the visuals, you kind of freeze up at times, but your audio never gives out. So they're hearing everything fine. It's kind of a little patchy visually. So at least the audio is coming through good.
Hey, you know what? I will take that. Considering what we've had today, the fact I can talk to you and show stuff and show me, and I think we're in good shape. By the way, we do have school closings on our website, msliveweather.com. They're not all up, but you have to send them in. msliveweather.com/closings/submissions. We'll put that out there again for folks to try to send those in. But I'm going to bring it back in here, and Gabe will hopefully talk to you in a minute, because we're trying to do a whole bunch of different things here. So we're going to come back in and hopefully be able to talk to Gabe and Caleb a little bit in a minute. But the thing I notice here is, again, from this point on, an additional inch or more of ice is possible, and that in itself would be a bad ice storm. And you put that on top of what we've had, and that is a bad, bad ice storm. So this matches still largely the exact same graphic we've been showing since Thursday morning. What to expect? Peak impacts. Hopefully you have prepared. We're stuck with whatever it's going to be at this point, right? It just is what it is. But in the pink area here, you will continue to see potentially some icing, though you have shifted slightly warmer now. That is not a forever thing. There will be a drop back, and there will be additional icing issues that you face. Here again, look at our hour-by-hour forecast: 31, 7 a.m., 32 by noontime, and 26 by 5. After this moves out, huge drop in temperatures and issues that go along with that. 7-day forecast beyond this, as you can see: 36 Tuesday, 38 Wednesday, 35 Thursday. It does not warm up, and low temperatures, either teens or single digits. So if you haven't gotten power back, obviously, hopefully they get it back, but it's going to be cold. There are warming stations out there. Friends of the North Mississippi Storm Chasers are listing that. But the thing that people keep talking about in the chat is, like I saw someone a second ago said, went outside, heard a crack. It was a huge 200-year-old oak. I could feel it when it hit the ground. Don't go outside near trees. Best advice you can give. Okay, Landon, I know you're watching behind the scenes here. We're going to switch this over. For all of our friends on Facebook, on the app, on YouTube, we're going to end up taking a break here in a second. I'm going to run the final out, and we'll start a special edition of Mississippi Live Weather here in a moment. So after this outbreak, Landon, we're going to take it down, and we'll be back with more continuous coverage here in a moment. Again, next live broadcast is going to be at 6:30 a.m. here in the Room to Room Weather Center. We'll be tracking things. Our meteorologist Maggie McCauley. Gabe might still be here. Caleb might be here. Who knows? Maybe we'll all have power. Got to think positively, right? We'll see you at 6:30 a.m. And honestly, we'll see you here in a couple of minutes.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. We knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lopon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lopon has proven himself trustworthy.